Hello, welcome to another episode of the Own Your Voice Pod. And today we're going to talk about what needs to happen before you build your personal brand. Now, before we get into it, building your personal brand is so important, whether you are a corporate professional or you're an entrepreneur. Now, if you're a corporate professional, according to the 2018 Career Builder Survey, 70% of employers use social media to screen their candidates during the hiring process, and 43% of employers use social media to check in on their current employees. I wonder if your boss is checking in on you right now. So you may be with your current company for a long while now, and you might feel safe, right? But what if somewhere down the line you want to switch careers, you want to switch industries, you want to switch jobs? Then what? Without a personal brand, it's going to be hard for your employer to recommend you, other than saying that you're a hard worker and that's all they can talk about you because they don't have any other impression of you. Now, without a personal brand, you won't be able to have any impression on your new employer. Without an online personal brand, potential employers will have zero impression of you when they do a quick search on you on LinkedIn. You'll just be this 2D human being with a list of credentials that other people have too. In a world where having a degree is normal, you need more than credentials to be recognized for your value. Now, if you're someone that wants to receive opportunities to represent your company at networking events or overseas projects, you need to be known as someone with a strong personal brand and someone that has an ability to make an unforgettable impression. When you build a strong personal brand for yourself, you'll naturally add to the brand of your organization. And so naturally, employers will want to give opportunities to those people who stand out. And if you're an entrepreneur, I think it's pretty obvious, right? Out of the many fitness coaches, business coaches, financial consultants that I know, I personally would choose to work with someone that I vibe with the most. And when I talk about vibe, I mean I feel comfortable with their energy, I resonate with their values and their life philosophies, and I connect with their story. Or perhaps I just like their personality and their weird quirks that just make them them. I will never hire someone only because of their skill set, unless they're a plumber. So if you're someone in a people-facing business, your brand is the differentiating factor between you and someone else providing the same service. Now, building a personal brand is absolutely crucial for you to standing out to the right clients. The clients that you want to work with. Now, the thing is, many people think of personal branding as strategies. They overly focus on the strategy, the content, the social media aspect on it. Well, the reality is this: strategy, content, social media is all a vehicle in communicating who you are. But you need to work on yourself first because your personal brand is a reflection of who you are. And in this episode, we'll learn some personal branding foundational principles and practices that not many people talk about. And these principles and practices are things that you need to do in order to make those branding strategies work. Now, I want you to remember this. You're building a personal brand every single day in everything you think, do, and say, whether you like it or not. Now, even if you don't want to build your brand, I'm sorry to say that you're already building it every single day, unless you're living under a rock and nobody knows you. You build your brand in what you think. If you think of yourself as someone that is too inexperienced or born an introvert and have no ideas to share, then the energy in which you show up will lack confidence. It'll even seep into your speech pattern and your tone of voice, and you'll perhaps speak in a little bit more of a sheepish tone. You build your brand in the things that you do, the way that you serve others, the decisions that you make, your acts of service. You also build your brand in the things you say. What you say is a reflection of your attitude and your ideas. What you say is a reflection of your depth of experiences, awareness, and wisdom. Once again, your personal brand is a reflection of who you really are. So when you're kind, thoughtful, wise, fun, adventurous, and you're a passionate person, people will naturally talk about you and share with people about these traits that you embody, naturally growing your brand. Social media is an amplifier of who you are. You need to know who you are and constantly work on yourself in order to have something good to amplify. And that is why today we're talking about the 3 things that need to happen before you build your brand. Because ultimately, remember this, strategy, social media, content, anything that you put online is simply an amplifier to who you are. Okay, so let's dive right in. 3 things that needs to happen before you build your personal brand. Number 1, instill a habit of managing your thoughts. Now, you need to work on you in order to work on your brand. Years ago when I started my first business in sales, I had a coach who shared with me something that was kind of hard to hear and really shocked me. He said, Ray, do you realize that very often when you walk into a room, you bring this certain energy in which your team will immediately feel like, oh, something's wrong with Ray. Like Ray is going through something. She looks upset. Like they can feel and know that something is wrong. I was like, huh? Really? But once he mentioned that, I started realizing that when I was going through tough challenges in my life, when I felt frustrated, I would unknowingly whine or I would get really impatient with people. I will be really snappy and I'm no longer that positive and confident Ray that I thought I was. That was when I realized the importance of managing my thoughts. Our thoughts influence our actions. When we don't take time to communicate with ourselves and work through those thoughts that are in our heads, our emotions start building up, desperately trying to come out and express themselves. So when you don't take time to listen to your thoughts, it would explode out of you eventually, when you least want it to happen, and that affects our brand. Now, I know that we all have our low moments. I am not saying show your perfect side and never be sad, okay? That is not what I'm saying. It's completely normal to have low emotions, but you have the responsibility to take ownership over your emotions and work through them. So what I do is I personally self-coach and journal daily and weekly. So daily would be a 10 minutes one for quick reflection, noting down any thoughts and emotions that I'd like to unpack during the weekend that I'll need more time for. And weekly, I'll have 1 or 2 hours where I will take the weekend to unpack them. I'll also have friends that I know that I can just be my most unfiltered self. I know that even when I am snappy, I'm impatient, they love me for who I am. And those are the friends that I really seek support from, even after I coach myself, even after I journal, sometimes what I need is to have just someone to be there for me and to hold space for me. And those people are there to be there for me so that I won't have all these pent up emotions that explode when I don't want it to explode. So that's number 1, right? Number 1 is instill a habit of managing your thoughts. Number 2 is to know who you are and what you stand for. Authenticity is key in building your personal brand. If you try to speak like someone else or act according to other people's values and beliefs, you'll end up feeling fake, unfulfilled, and unhappy. And over time, people can tell. The thing is, not many of us take the time to stop and think about who we are and what we stand for. And it's especially easy to mold into the environment that we're in, to start dressing like the people around us, nodding your head in agreement to ideas that you listen to, because maybe majority of the people in your company or the people around you believe in something, then you naturally believe in that thing without you thinking about whether you really believe in it. When I was younger, I changed myself a lot to fit into the in group, to be more accepted, to be respected. I used to be extremely self-conscious about how I show up online and offline, especially when I was 22 years old and I was still in university running a side business that required me to sell and to meet people. And I was 22 years old. So in my mind, I was thinking, should I speak more formally? Should I dress more proper? So I bought nice bags, I tailored suits so that whenever I meet people, I felt more proper. But it just felt really weird. I felt like I wasn't being myself. I wasn't showing up as me. And I think deep down, it was because I didn't believe that as a young person, I would be seen as legit. The truth is, I didn't even see myself as legit. I didn't even trust myself and my value. And so I needed to dress a certain way to fit in, to show people and prove people that I was worth their time. And I realized that I was pretending to be a proper entrepreneur instead of simply being myself. Over time, I forgot what being myself looked like. And even now, I feel like I follow other entrepreneurs and speakers that have huge followings, people who talk about the importance of scaling, growing the business, waking up at 5 a.m., a lot of these principles that they share. And I start feeling guilty. I start thinking, I'm not doing that. Or I don't usually wake up at 5. I work better at night. I love traveling while working. Am I being a proper entrepreneur? Should I be focusing more on my business now instead of, experiencing life so much? Should I stop playing so much? And I start questioning myself and guilt tripping myself, and it doesn't go well. Right? And this is why it is so important to know who you are and what you stand for. So you build the version of success that you want and live the life that you want to live. And that will translate into the brand of who you are, not someone else. When I took time to really dig deeper to ask myself what is the life that I want to lead, what's the dream life that I have in mind for myself, it does include travel. It does include building my business so that it could support the flexibility of location and time that I want. And I may not have the same goals as these entrepreneurs that want to hustle and scale to the thousands yet. And you might not have that goal of climbing the corporate ladder, and that's okay. I think ultimately it's important to take time, dive deeper, and ask yourself, what do you want? Who are you? What do you stand for? And make sure that you're making decisions that align with your values and your wants. Because your brand is going to be a reflection of who you are and what you stand for. Remember, you build your brand in what you think, do, or say. And this includes the decisions that you make and the life that you live. And so before even thinking about building your personal brand online, make sure you're living a life authentic to you. So here are some questions that you can ask yourself. Number 1, what are a few events that have shaped you into the person that you are today? Number 2, what are your values? Number 3, what are your priorities? Number 4, what is success to you? Number 5, how does your dream life look like? Now, these are just a couple of questions to help start framing your mind to thinking about you instead of just molding yourself into other people. Some habits that you can create, this one habit that I would highly recommend for you to intentionally build into your life is this. When you're scrolling through social media, when you're consuming content, put your critical thinking lenses on. Ask yourself, do I agree with this? What's my opinion on this? Not everything on the internet is real. You need to consume intelligently and ask yourself if you believe in what you're consuming. Even things that seem very positive, even things that gurus, teachers, coaches say, doesn't mean you need to follow. Even what I say right now, think if this applies to you, because everything needs to be aligned with who you are and what you stand for, okay? This is really important. So that's number 2, what you need to do before you start building your brand. Know who you are and what you stand for. Number 3 is to surround yourself with people that love you and grow you. Now, as I mentioned, authenticity is key to building your personal brand. And so you need to make sure that you're putting yourself in environments where you can show up as your authentic self. You might say, Ray, I don't fully know who I am yet. I'm still growing my awareness in that. Well, even so, you will know when you're in environments that make you feel uncomfortable. Pay attention to how you feel. Do you feel obliged to say or do things that you don't want? Do you feel judged when you say or do certain things? Do you feel judged when you make a mistake or when you ask a question? One of my insecurities in the past was that I felt like I didn't have very good general knowledge. And I was in debates club, and I felt like the people around me knew history and they had their general knowledge nailed down, and I didn't really have as in-depth general knowledge. Thankfully, I was surrounded by friends that I could openly ask questions, and I have never been put down or laughed at when I asked a question. That made me feel comfortable. It made me feel comfortable to show up as my authentic self. You also want to surround yourself with people who grow you and who would tactfully call you out when needed so that you can grow. Because when you grow, your brand grows. And so that's the third thing. Surround yourself with people who love you and grow you. And so in summary, these are the 3 things that needs to happen before you build your personal brand. Number 1, instill a habit of managing your thoughts. You need to work on you in order to work on your brand. Number 2, know who you are and what you stand for. Authenticity is key to building your personal brand. And number 3, surround yourself with people who love you and grow you. Make sure you're putting yourself into environments where you can show up as your authentic self. Now, this is going to sound too good to be true, okay? But once you do these 3 things, you are already building your personal brand. The foundation to building your personal brand is to know yourself, grow yourself, and show up as yourself. This way, you'll exude the beauty of your brand in every room you walk into, in every conversation you have, and in any stage that you stand on. So remember to always work on you first before you work on your personal brand. If you found this helpful, do share it on social media or personally to friends, because I really want to reach as many people as possible to help them own their voice, to own their brand. And I really hope that this can help as many people as possible all around the world. And with that, I'll see you in the next episode where we'll talk a little bit about what are some unique practices that you can try, simple and unique practices that you can try that will help build your personal brand that doesn't require you to spend hours on social media. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye!